We start by setting a proper motivation, which consists of 3 parts, keeping in mind both what we visualize and how we visualize it. Visualize the refuge field. Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, any enlightened beings you feel close to in relation to wisdom and compassion. Visualize them in the space in front of you. And how to visualize them? They are looking at you with immense love, kindness, compassion, just as a parent looks at their only child. The bodhicitta field, your 2 kind parents, mother on the left and father on the right. All your family members, friends, neutral people, people you may have difficulties with, and all the sentient beings, all the creatures of every species, leaving none behind. And they are surrounding you, and here you are leading them in this practice, looking at them with immense love and kindness. And third, the purpose of the practice, to manifest the seed of perfection, the diamond-like Buddha nature which is inside each one of us, which is obscured right now by the mental defilements, the gross ones, afflictive obscurations, in the form of contaminated karmas, afflictions and the active seeds of the 2, and the subtle ones, the cognitive obscurations, the smell-like latencies, which manifest in the form of self-centered attitude. So with this study, reflection and meditation, may we be able to remove all these mental defilements with the support of, through the wisdom of emptiness, fueled by the unconditional love of bodhicitta, grounded on renunciation. With this motivation, we start reciting from page 3 of the Blaze of Non-Dual Bodhicittas. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no rising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is freed of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all leads hearers seeking pacification to complete peace, who through the knowledge of paths causes those helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of omniscience helps subduers expound the variety of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher, Sugata, and protector, to you I make prostrations. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye Chodan Sogi Chodnam La Chamcho Pardu Dhane Kyaksuchi Dhage Jinsogi Pe Sognan Ki Choda Venture Sangye Chopar Show. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavadat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vadi Mahashramanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavadat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vadi Mahashramanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavadat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vadi Mahashramanaye Swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the Great Seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear light and non-composite, such is the nectar-like Dharma I have discovered. Finding no one to fathom this teaching, in silence I will retire into the woods. Beyond utterance, thought, and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. It is the object of apprehension of the self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the three times, I pay obeisance. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, please liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of aeons. The Buddha does not wash the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of suchness that beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered in mystery's gloom. If you are attached to this life, you're not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Page 14, Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond the foe-destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O Supreme amongst humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies, all supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, Fame that blazes in the three worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme science face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dust free like you, the three worlds are not. Incomparable wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the Tathagata I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the dharma that pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the Sangha I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the form of false, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Please turn to page 31. We will recite the Heart Sutra mantra 7 times. Maya Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Bodhi Swaha Tayatha 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 Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Bodhi Swaha. Page 73, three principal aspects of the path. I bow down to the Venerable Lamas. As well as I am able, I will explain the essence of all the teachings of the conqueror, the path praised by the conqueror's children, the entrance for those who desire liberation. Listen with a clear mind, you fortunate ones, who are not attached to the joys of cyclic existence. Strive to make good use of pleasure and opportunity, and direct your minds to the path that pleases the Buddha. Without pure renunciation, an end to attraction for the pleasures of cyclic existence is unattainable. The craving for existence also binds beings. Thus, from the outset, seek renunciation. Reverse attraction to this life by reflecting on how leisure and opportunity are difficult to find, and how life is ephemeral and without span. Reverse attraction to future lives by repeatedly thinking of the infallibility of karma and its effects and the miseries of samsara. Contemplating thus, when for an instant you do not admire the splendors of cyclic existence and remain intent on liberation day and night, renunciation is born in you then. Renunciation, if not tempered by a pure mind of bodhicitta, however, does not bring forth the perfect bliss of unsurpassed enlightenment. Therefore, the wise ones generate the excellent mind of bodhicitta, swept up in the current of the four powerful rivers, tied by strong bonds of karma so hard to undo, caught in the iron net of self-grasping, completely enveloped by the darkness of ignorance, born and reborn in boundless cyclic existence, ceaselessly tormented by the three miseries. Thinking of your mothers in this condition, generate the supreme mind of bodhicitta. Although you train in renunciation and the mind of bodhicitta, without wisdom that realizes the ultimate reality, you cannot cut the root of cyclic existence. Therefore, strive to understand dependent arising. One who sees the infallible cause and effect of all phenomena in samsara and nirvana, and destroys all focuses of apprehension, has entered the path which pleases the Buddha. Appearances are infallible dependent arising. Emptiness is the understanding that is free of assertions. As long as these two are seen as distinct, you have not yet realized the intent of the Buddha. When these two realizations are concurrent, where the mere sight of infallible dependent origination concurrently destroys all modes of grasping through definite discernment, at that time the analysis of the profound view is perfected. Furthermore, appearances refute the extreme of existence. Emptiness refutes the extreme of non-existence. When you understand that emptiness arises in the form of cause and effect, you are not captivated by the view of extremes. O my child, once you have thus realized the points of the three principal paths, seek solitude and cultivate strong determination, and quickly reach the final aspired goal. We'll do 5 minutes meditation. So please keep in mind the 4 points for any meditation to be a good meditation, which is the correct body posture, keeping in mind the focal point, what is your focal object. Then number 3, identifying the 2 errors, mental laxity or mental excitation. And number 4, applying the remedies to overcome these errors, the remedies being introspection and mindfulness. So with that, we'll do 5-minute meditation.
Okay, we are coming to the end of the Buddhist psychology topic. So we turn to page 52 of the Buddhist psychology. So ideally speaking, for the Nalanda Master's course, we do all these topics except for 1 and 2. So for the Nalanda Diploma course, I'm just picking up some important topics. As I said earlier, these are more like compilation. They are not really what you find as the topic under the Buddhist psychology. If you read any other the books on Buddhist psychology, typically more, say, the typical Buddhist psychology books, you will not find these things there. These are things are added from the, of course, all the Buddhist texts, Buddhist standard texts, they're all the psychology. So we picked up many of these topics from the materials. Okay, if you turn to page 52, section 3, which is point number 3, which says view and impulse-oriented minds. So this concept is beautifully explained in Abhidhamma Kosh. So now we are, in a way, we are trying to look at our own mind and then see the distinction between the various aspects of the mind. And as the great saint Saraha rightly pointed out, that compassion and the wisdom of emptiness, these two should be seen as the two wings of the bird for somebody wishing to cross the ocean of samsara and to reach the enlightenment. So the wisdom of emptiness and compassion. So there, say with the study of the Buddhist psychology and the Nalanda Master's course and the Nalanda Diploma course, so there we place a tremendous emphasis on the wisdom side. And of course there's the section on compassion side, bodhicitta and so forth, but we pay so much of the emphasis on the wisdom side. Meanwhile, we are not to forget that the other side, compassion side, is not to be missed. And particularly, let's say all of us, we have the experience of being in a family, with your parents, and so forth. So there, there's a tendency for us, particularly, as opposed to what was like many years ago. Nowadays, with the modern education, I think this is one of the drawbacks of the modern education, where there's a tremendous emphasis on the computational skills, mathematics, and something which is factual, not really of the heart. So that part is missing in the modern education system, unfortunately. And because of which the outcome, the product of this modern education system is that the people, they don't really pay much heed to their parents, and the relationship between the parents and the children is really becoming fragmented, and the family is becoming fragmented, and unfortunately this is what is happening. So it's so important for us, particularly being a part of the Nalanda Master's course and Diploma course, it is very important to equally emphasize on the compassion part. First, learn it how to be compassionate towards one's parents and one's your own family members. Just see how much we can be compassionate towards them from their start. In fact, just for information, I'd like to share with you that there's some of the people who are from the Nalanda Master's course and the Diploma course, after attending the courses, their relationship with the parents, it just improved drastically. This is what I heard from many the many people. It's very inspiring. This is so positive, and this is what we really need to work on. So equal emphasis must be there. And now to see what is really happening. What is really happening? Say those who are not introduced to modern education, the parent-children relationship is very strong. Then with the modern education, that this is becoming a little fragmented and a little complicated. Okay, so because of we studying the Buddhist psychology, so they can see our own mind. Just see our own mind, how that is happening, how the people who are not really exposed to modern education, overall speaking, their relationship with you, their family values, these things are intact, whereas those in the modern education system, with the exception of some, the tendencies that they become less sense of the gratitude towards the parents and the sense of commitment for the family is all just falling apart. Why that is happening? So after learning the psychology, we can see that within ourselves, and precisely the topics that we're going to pick up here today, they will be very relevant for us in that pursuit. Okay, the first point number 3, and I'll just skip many of the points which we have to do in more detail during the Null and Master's course. Okay, point number 3 says, view and impulsive oriented minds. So if you look at the people, if you look at yourself, look at other people, say some people say they're very disciplined, saying that discipline doesn't, even in very simple terms. For example, say if you're diabetic, you can easily refrain from eating sugar, and even though you like those things so well, and some people, they cannot refrain that. So from this we see that the mindset can be classified into 2. One which is the view oriented, and the other one is impulse oriented. Say someone who's someone who follows more rationality. So these are known as the view-oriented people, view-oriented mind. And then who say, okay, yes, I'm diabetic. And then there is this rasgulla, gulab jamun, or Coca-Cola, or chocolate, or whatever. Then the cheesecake. And then, okay, just today, for exception today. And this exception never ends. This is known as the impulse. Okay, so this is where, so if we are not into if you're not a part of the view-oriented thinking, if you don't have the view-oriented thinking, then the danger is that we tend to suffer a lot. People who are more into the view-oriented and who are more impulse-oriented, they suffer dramatically. And yet, even if your mind is more into the impulse-oriented, it can be changed. It can be transformed, because everything is dependent originated. Everything comes into being by dependence on other factors. So these factors, dependence upon which your mind becomes impulse-oriented, simply remove them. And then, same example which I gave earlier about the golden stupa. Although you are like the example of a stupa, and a stupa may be worn-out stupa, which is not really impressive stupa. And how can we make it a golden stupa, very impressive, very appealing stupa? Just knowing that this stupa is made of thousands of bricks. Because the bricks are worn out, naturally the stupa is seen as worn out. So you remove one worn out brick with the golden brick. Replace it with the golden brick. And naturally, slowly, one day slowly start to glow, and then it becomes golden stupa. So this is what we can do, even though some of our things, just that you are the best judge for yourself. Now see how our mind works, impulsively or rationally, right? And then for example, say the being consistent. This is again a very important quality for mind. If you're not being consistent, even that can be cultivated. Even the quality to be consistent, even that can be cultivated. So when the consistency, that part is lacking, then the very standard people will not really, qualify you as somebody who is to be valued. Okay, so even that can be learned. The point is that view-oriented and the impulse-oriented. So this is one thing that we need to know. The next one is the cognitive, number 4, cognitive and the affective post-mental states. So finally, what moves? What makes a mind move? What makes a mind move is the affective side. Affective meaning, for example, say compassion, feeling, say, the empathy towards others, feeling compassion towards other people, and then say the attachment, aversion. So there, our mind moves. Our mind moves. Okay, Eka, bye-bye. See you soon. Okay, our mind moves. So all this movement, which is the affective, for example, compassion. Compassion moves towards the beings. Anger moves away from the beings. And jealousy, craving, and so forth. All these are the movements of the mind. So these movements of the mind, which are known as the affective side of the mind, they're grounded, they are driven by the cognitive side of the mind, cognitive. For example, let's say that, say if you are a very genuinely compassionate person, and if you see somebody who is suffering, very automatically you see the person is suffering. That is the cognitive side. You know that the person is suffering. Cognitively, you know that the person is suffering. And then how you react, that depends on your natural tendency of the mind. If your natural tendency of mind is, say, loving, caring, compassionate, the moment you see somebody suffering, automatically you wish that the other person be freed of suffering. Your mind moves. Okay. So we see that within the mind, there are two things. Affective side, which is the immediate cause for all our actions. And then what underlies or what underscores all these affective minds is the cognitive mind. For example, let's say if I'm so fond of the flowers, and somebody gives me, say, a non-flower, something which is non-flower, I'm not really interested. And then somebody shows me the flower. What is this? This is a flower. The moment I see this a flower, then seeing this as a flower, cognitively I perceive the object as a flower. That is the cognitive side of the mind. With this cognitive side of the mind, then the very pleasant feeling comes in me because of my past habits. Pleasant feelings comes to me. Then the mind moves. That is the affective side. So affective mind decides all our actions. And the affective mind, what drives the affective mind is the cognitive mind. Okay, this is one thing that we need to know. Okay, now page 55. Okay, let me first go to page 53, point number 8. Point number 8, process of arising afflictions and virtues. So how the virtues, good thoughts, and how the bad thoughts, afflictions, they arise. So we see that there are 4 major texts which explain on this, 4 major texts. Okay, I would like to go through the first one and number C. And then if you know number 1 and number A and number C, then you read number B and D. They are similar. They overlap. Okay, number one, how the afflictions arise. How the afflictions arise, and from this we can also infer how the virtues can arise, how we can cultivate the virtues. It says from Abhidhamma Kosh, chapter 5, stanza 35, through afflictions not having been abandoned. Number one, afflictions not having been abandoned. Say, if we have afflictions like attachment, anger, jealousy, so forth, number one, we have not abandoned them, number one. Then number two, an object abiding nearby. Object, the stimulus. The stimulus is nearby. The stimulus to trigger the attachment, aversion, so forth, they are nearby, number two. Then number three, improper mental attention. Our thought, say the exaggerating the qualities of the object, the causes of the afflictions are complete. These three things. One, that you have not abandoned the afflictions. Number two, the stimulus for the afflictions are nearby. Then number three, our exaggeration of the qualities, which is known as inappropriate attention. Inappropriate attention. So when these three things are there, afflictions are bound to arise. Likewise, when these three things are there pertaining to the virtues, virtues are bound to arise. Okay, for example, let's say with the anger. So one, we have not abandoned the anger. We are prone to, say, giving rise to anger, number one. Then number two, the stimulus of anger. Say somebody who's provocative, or somebody who's thinking may not tally with yours. There's a clash of ideas and so forth. And then maybe your competitor. And if that person is close by, then your anger is bound to be there. Likewise, stress, attachment, all these, we see that these three things, when these three things are there, then these emotional states, they are bound to arise. Okay, for example, one time, there was the one person, and the person reported, they told me, shared with me his problem. His problem was the depression, and then he was on antidepressant. Okay, the depression can be for any reasons, and then I asked, what's the problem? Then he was sharing with me. The problem is at the workplace. And what's the problem? The boss is unfair. In what way the boss is unfair? I'm senior, and somebody who's way junior to me was given promotion ahead of me. And then it was because of the nepotism. So I said, so this is a problem? Yes, and you're on antidepressant. He said, yes. I said that don't take antidepressant, right? By taking antidepressant, the boss will not promote you. If your boss promotes you by you getting antidepressant, oh, his depression, I can see that he's taking antidepressant. So you take the antidepressant and you're promoted, then you can stop the antidepressant. But no, this is not happening, right? Whether you take antidepressant, not even if you take antidepressant, but you continue to do the same thing, the cause of your stress is not treated. It's not addressed. So what's the point? When the cause is not addressed, depression is bound to come. If that happens, then the antidepressant, it can numb your mind. At the same time, it has many side effects. So not only that your original problem is not solved, you're inviting many more additional problems, unnecessarily additional problems. So this is not a wise way, right? Whereas if it is because of, say, for example, you have, let's say somebody, the loss of near and dear ones. You lost somebody who you love so much, And so then you cannot really say you just go into depression because of that. So that is something which is not happening every day over and over again. So it's a matter of time. Over time, slowly, your mind can go away from it, and then time heals. So under such situation, you take antidepressant. Okay, it makes sense. But when the cause is every day hitting you, what's the point of taking antidepressants? Okay, so we should be dealing with what? The point is here is afflictions not being abandoned. The tendency for depression is not abandoned. And then object abiding nearby is always there, right? Object, the meaning, the stimulus for your depression. That your boss being unkind towards you is always there, next to you. Every day there. Stimulus is always there, the two factors intact. Then third one, improper mental attention. Then your exaggeration, my boss is unkind to me, unkind towards me, unkind. That is always there. These three things are there, your depression is bound to arise. So likewise, just see how to say the first one, not really possible. We can just look for ways, means to mitigate the power of the afflictions, mitigate the power. For example, practice compassion on a daily basis, then mitigate the power of the afflictions, number one. Then mitigate a little bit, not fully. Then number two, the object abiding nearby. Say to remove the stimulus. The stimulus which can trigger attachment, anger, jealousy, depression, so forth. Stimulus we can keep them aside or keep them away from you. We can keep them away, not nearby. This is what we can do, number two. Number three, improper mental attention. That is something which we can learn how to be objective. How to be objective. So this is how we can treat with our depression, anxiety, stress, and so forth, and including attachment, anger, jealous, and so forth. Okay, so by knowing these things, then we will know how the afflictions arise, with these factors intact, with the afflictions arise, or they don't arise. You will see that these are just incredibly, greatly prophetic, efficacious in terms of the factors indicated. Okay, that is so important. From this, just see how much we can do, what we can do. Right? We all are prone to these afflictions in one form or the other. See how we can mitigate the power of them by these mitigating or by getting rid of one of these three factors. Then number C. Number B is very important. Number B, I think we already did that many times. Number B, with the 5 points, if you could remember how the miseries, the mental stress, mental pain and so forth, how they arise. They arise in the form of the 5 points. You remember what the 5 points are? What are the 5 points? Suffering is the point number one. The suffering, immediate cause of that is contaminated karmas, number two. Contaminated karmas, immediate causes. Afflictions. And what is the cause of the immediate cause of afflictions? Inappropriate attention. What's the cause of the inappropriate attention? Ignorance, self-grasp, ignorance. Okay, there are 5 points. Knowing the 5 points so well, see what we can do to curb the cause of the suffering. The suffering, point number 5. And then the immediate cause of suffering is contaminated karmas. Say how much we can refrain from the contaminated karmas. Right? Contaminated karmas, there are millions and trillions of contaminated karmas are there. Say how much we can get rid of the contaminated karmas. Say 10 non-virtuous karmas. See how we can get rid of the 10 non-virtuous karmas. 3 physical, 4 verbal, and 3 mental. Right? So if we can get rid of the 10 non-virtuous karmas to the best we can, that itself is a great practice. Okay. This is something doable. It's not that only those people who have exposure to philosophy, they can get away from these 10 non-virtuous karmas. No, even without exposure to the philosophy, you can get it written on virtuous commas. For example, say number one. Say the three physical. What are three physical? Three physical non-virtuous commas. Oh, so no, non-virtuous commas. Non-stealing is virtuous. Stealing, right? Stealing is something even the very decent, civilized countries, they say that this is bad, right? So everybody, whether you know philosophy, no philosophy, you have no excuse. You have no excuse. Okay, I don't know philosophy, so therefore I was involved in stealing, right? So this, whether you know philosophy or not philosophy, the rule says that the government's law, the country's law says that you're not allowed to do that. We know that. So how much we can do it? For example, say they do away from evading the taxes is one thing, right? Try best not to evade the taxes. You're getting it? Okay. So like this, stealing, then killing. How to get away from killing? Deliberately going there to kill people, deliberately to go there to kill animals. The people, particular people here, not a master's course, not a diploma course, you will not do that. But there are many other things which are close, somehow indirectly connected. For example, say the excessive indulgence into, say, the non-vegetarianism, excessive indulgence, right? Okay, but I'm saying this again, that I would never say that somebody who is non-vegetarian, this is really bad. This is not what I'm saying. This is not really number one. Everyone has good sides and bad sides, but somebody into vegetarianism, and if somebody is like excessively into a non-vegetarian form, say every day, then that person, okay, I went to another diploma course. From there I learned that, okay, this is not really a good thing, because it connects with the killing indirectly. You're not killing them, but then because you are eating them, so therefore somebody wants to make money out of that. So what does the person do? Kill the animal, right? So because of our style of the food, non-vegetarian style of food, that people start killing things. So if you can, okay, no, this is not really good. I acknowledge this. So now I cannot I cannot quit it altogether. But I will say, some people, they say that now we have stopped buying meat from outside, and maybe when you go to the restaurant we eat. Otherwise, we don't really cook anything at house. This is also one step. It's amazing. Somebody who takes the step, this is amazing step one. And some people say that, okay, earlier we used to cook every day, non-veg every day. Now we make once in a while, maybe once a month, once a week. Even that step has been taken. That's amazing. So good. So good. So the point of what I'm saying is that as long as we take steps, that is so good. That is so good. It's not that, so that, okay, you are studying Buddhist psychology, and then the contaminant karma, so to stop killing, getting involved in these things. Some people, they go to too extreme. That is, by these steps, extreme steps can create more violence. You understand what I'm saying? Extreme steps meant to stop the killing can create more killing. Right? I don't want to elaborate too much on that. Right? When we go to extremes, the point is that we should not forget that finally the world should improve. We cannot expect the world to transform tomorrow. World to become perfect, see the perfection tomorrow. No? As long as improvement is happening. And then depending on how skilled you are, what degree of improvement. First improvement, number two, the degree of improvement. So these two must be kept in mind. Okay, and some people, even though for health reasons, right? For health reasons, they have to somehow have non-vegetarian food. What do you do, right? We cannot really blame these people. So for them, mentally, as long as they feel that actually it's not correct, but for my health reasons, I have to, I have to say take non-veg once in a while. So therefore, why should we have to push too much, right? The point is that there's reason there. It's not out of indulgence. Okay, and some people, although they cannot really change to non-vegetarian completely, but then mentally, they don't really see it as correct. I know that it's not good. I really appreciate those people who really can. They adopt vegetarianism. This is amazing. Even this much of acknowledgement, even this is amazing. Even this is so good. So the point is that as long as there's a little bit of transformation, 10%, 20%, okay, let's say in some cases 80%, or in some cases 70, 50, 40, 20, 10, 5, even 1%, even 0.01%, as long as there's improvement, this is something to be respected. Okay, so no killing, then no stealing, no sexual misconduct. So all this we have to, so the studying the text. So the text as to, what are the characteristics of these points and how to refrain from them. And then the four verbal, what are the four verbal? Lying, divisive talk, idle gossip, harsh words. Very good. Okay, so these, just see how much we can take these steps. For example, say the telling lies. Just see how much we can refrain from telling lies. So, for example, say in order to make the conversation quite lively, we deliberately tell jokes, and then many people, they cannot tell jokes unless they tell something lies, right? So jokes means it should be a lie. This is unnecessary. Where there's no reason, where there's no benefit, where there's no concrete threat, sheer threat or whatever, just avoid telling lies, right? Just avoid telling lies. One. And then number two is harsh words, right? See how much we can refrain from harsh words. See, right? Just for selfish interests. Say harsh words directed, harsh words coming out with the intention to benefit the other person, to protect somebody else. Then there could be exceptions. Even that, you can see that we can do the same purpose, we can accomplish the same purpose, not resorting to harsh words, right? There are many other skillful ways and means to tackle the situation. But harsh words just for one's personal gain, personal ego, that is too much. Okay. So, particularly what I would say is that now it is more like recent development, or more like some of discovery in my personal thinking, that we talk about all sentient beings, and the real sentient beings with whom you can really make difference are those people who are around you, right? And those people are around you. You can practice refraining from harsh words. You can practice patience. You can practice kindness. And through these, we just ignore. And we just pray for all the beings who we cannot see in Nigeria or wherever, right? So in, say, America, in Nigeria, in Japan, in Germany, we pray for them. Those people who are just immediate with you, your parents, your children, your husband, your wife, your relatives, and your work colleagues. For these people, you just ignore. Right? For example, say mobile. always we see that if there are 10 people on mobile, and they are taking to 10 different people, right? And these 10 people, they are not talking. And these people, the 10 people to whom they are talking, these 10 people talking, if they are together, you will not talk to them. Again, you will talk to somebody else. Guaranteed. Right? Guaranteed. So therefore, this is a problem. So the point is, see how much we can refrain from, say, using harsh words, right? And particularly, the first victim of the harsh words is your parents, and in most likelihood, the mother, right? So just see, you are actually making somebody unhappy who loves you the most. So pathetic. And then the point is that later on you'll regret. And of course you love the mother so much, no doubt. The fact that your mother becomes the first victim of your harsh words is because you love the mother so much, you have so much confidence that my mother will not retaliate. Right? The mother will not fight back against me. Okay, so these are things that you do have to love. So with this love, first thing that we practice is just refrain. Just practice all these, say, the virtues, refrain from that, not the virtuous karmas from your own place, right? Just practice this and then expand it. Expand it. And the moment you are able to practice this, and you can, guaranteed you can, I'm saying this again, I'm so happy to hear from many people that earlier, I've noticed also, earlier the relationship with the parents, particularly the mother, is very sour. And the mother is like, very like weak. I'll say like the animal, and the child is like the perpetrator, right? And then say, after a while, because of attending to teachings and so forth, then the thinking of the child changes and the mother starts to glow. It's beautiful, it's amazing. Mother feels so happy. So therefore, this is something that we really need to take care of. And particularly, I see that people who attend the master's course, diploma course, when I see them having concrete change in their life, and the families, they become much happier. It's such a joy, such a joy. And I see that, okay, whether somebody realizes emptiness or somebody realizes bodhicitta, these things, okay, amazing, a great source of rejoice. But somebody who can bring a concrete change in the family, right? Make somebody have a greater smile on their face. This is what I would really feel so happy and feel proud of having had this Nanda Master's course, Nanda Diploma course. This is so good. Just see how much we can take. You can change. We can change. Right? We can change. Just try to see how to stop the harsh words. So we can change it. The first thing, one thing that we can keep in mind is, say for example, when the urge is coming, the first step, as Bodhisattva Shanadeva said, is when the urge to say something towards your father, urge to say something towards your mother, towards your father is going to be, less likelihood. Towards mother is more easily coming up, right? And towards your father and towards your brother, towards your father is easier, towards your brother is less easy. Because the brother will just say, who are you? Right? Father will not say, who are you? Right? And your brother, and you are the outsider, neighbor, it's easier to say this to the brother, right? So this is how, which means that deep inside you love your parents, you love your brother, you love your father, everyone. But the thing is that we did not get the opportunity to think about these areas. And how do you know that you really love your parents? The moment somebody attacks your parents, you will be the first person to attack that person back. Because you love your parents so much. You're getting it? So why do you want somebody else to attack your parents? Because your parents, you don't want your parents to be offended, and you're making them offended by attacking them. Okay, so we can change. We can change. The best thing is that we all have the experience of a tremendous love that you felt towards your parents and that parents felt towards you. That is strongly inside us. Yet, unfortunately, that has gone too deep down. It's not on the surface. Now, by reflecting on these, by the study of the master's course, diploma course, this should slowly come out. And it's amazing. It works. I know so many people having come in contact with the teaching of Buddha. People transformed. Once they are so aggressive, particularly toward their parents, they become very gentle, calm, very compassionate, loving towards the parents. And the parents, they feel such a new life. It's so like they become younger now. So happy. The whole family, whole house radiates with joy and happiness, warmth. Okay, this is what we can do. Right? We can do. 100% we can do. So when this urge to shout happens, the first thing that we should do is keep in mind what Bodhisattva Shantideva said. Remain like a piece of wood. Urge is the mental, and then it drives the physical and verbal actions. So first stop the physical and verbal. Don't let it come out in physical. Don't let it come out verbally. So for that matter, Bodhisattva Shantideva advised that remain like a piece of wood. Just remain like a piece of wood. And then if still the urge is coming, then you go to your room. Lock yourself from inside. Don't cut yourself. There are many people who cut themselves. Okay, right? Okay, just cut the self-centered attitude. Don't cut your wrist. Cut your self-centered attitude, self-grasping. Just calm them down. Right? Just take a deep breath. Like 21 deep breaths. Just forget all the thoughts, focus your mind on the breath. Just take a 21 deep breaths. And after 21, still you want more, you can do another 20 set of 21 breath. Okay, then you see that your mind calms down a little bit. When your mind calms down, then you go out and then don't raise the same topic. Don't raise the same topic. Right? Don't raise the same topic, just do something else and don't show any facial expression. There is some kind of resentment like this. Just be very normal, right? Because the other side also loves you so much. Right? The other side will be very happy to see that. You didn't express it. Right? And when you are very calm, others also very calm, very happy, when the flow is happening, then you tell them, when I become so angry towards you, then I run towards my house, then I do the breathing, right? Not to express it. Other person will be so touched. It simply tells the other person how much you love the person, right? So that way, the chemistry, the biology, the chemistry between the two, you and your, say, parents, you and your spouse, you and your children, automatically will grow. It will become warmer. Okay, this is the first step that we will take. We take this step and you will see that the magic is happening. You become a happier person, guaranteed. You become a very happy person, right? And then say, yes. So this is the one step that we have to take. We can take. Okay, and the fact that particularly I get the chance only to talk to people like National Master's Course, National Diploma Course, and then the people who attend the Bodhisattva retreats, and maybe once in a while the public talks. Otherwise, so therefore the people who I interact and they still somehow affiliate themselves with this kind of program means that you have the potential, you have the deeper the sense, deeper conscientiousness to bring about change within yourself. This itself is incredibly precious, Just make the most of it now. Okay, this is one thing, and then let's say the harsh words, then slander. Of course, the slander is too much. Slander means divisive word. To divide people to talking, right? Or you go to person A and say that person B is talking like to you, go to B and say the person is talking. This is divisive. This is divisive, and many people, they don't do it intentionally, but they unintentionally do it. Unintentionally, right? Just there's no control. There's a Tibetan expression. Tibetans do not have the knot at the throat. Yeah, this is what the Tibetan delegates from Tibet when they left for Nalanda, from Tibet to India to Nalanda. Nalanda way before that, they were supposed to be inviting Adisha Devamura Shri Gyanam. And then Lama Adisha was so famous there that for Indians to think of sending him to Tibet is just beyond the imagination. So that must be what to be maintained confidential. Anybody asked the Tibetan delegates there, what for you came here? To invite Adisha Devamura Shri Gyanam. Right? So the emanation of Dumde Gyevechune, there was, Tibetans do not have the knot at their throat, which means that you do not know how to keep things confidential. You're getting it? So whatever is there, it just comes out. Some people, right, there's no throat, there's no knot there. Yeah, whatever is there, just, if I say this person will feel offended, and this person will feel angry towards that person. No thought, whatever comes, it just comes out. And then the person, oh, this is what other person thinking about me. Then automatically the two persons become distant, they become separate, a split. Even the husband and wife, one time, it was a terrible, the psychotherapist. A psychotherapist supposed to be a marriage counselor. A terrible marriage counselor. What is counselor? To bring somebody who's not in harmonious to harmonious. And little harmony there, she split. Right? So first, the marriage counselor, she called the girl. And asked some questions. Right? Asked some questions. In this world, what do you like the most? Then she said A, B, C, D. Right? So the husband was the third or the fourth. And then the counselor called the husband separately and said that this girl is not really for you. Right? Because in her mind you are fourth, not the first. Two of them split. This is just totally unskilled. No thought there, no not there in the psychotherapist. No, the word. Marriage counselor. She doesn't have this thing. She doesn't have the skillfulness and this problem, right? Tibetan's problem, she also had the same problem. Yeah. So the point is that many times unintentionally we can create tension in the people. We can create this split in the people unintentionally. So we should be very discreet. What to say, what not to say, when to say, where to say, right? Sometimes we have to talk to the person individually, not in the group. Sometimes we have to say this in the group, not individually. Sometimes we have to say in the morning, not in the afternoon, not in the evening when the person is so tired. Sometimes you have to say this evening, not in the morning, even morning when the person is so fresh and, new, fresh beginning, you spoil the day. Right? We have to know the timing, the place, the person. Right? Okay. So otherwise we can really end up into slandering, creating divisions in the people. This is considered to be one of the heaviest negative karmas. Okay, slander. Then idle gossip, just wasting time, talking nonsense. In Delhi, actually, we don't have time for that. Right, Delhi, I don't really think people have that much time. Right? People are a little busy on their own. I don't know, they might have time. Okay. Then the three mental covetousness, ill will, and the wrong view, right? Okay, covetousness is longing for the possession of others, longing for the possession of others. Longing for the possession of others includes many things, not only the physical objects, also the people, right? So this creates to all kinds of, they say, adulteries and so forth, right? We should be, and then jealousy, all these things come into pain. One, and then the longer they say the physical material things may be much better than embezzlement. All these somehow they're related to that, right? Okay, so in other words, so that can create it has so much of repercussions in the end, so much of consequences. It's not just the immediate thing. Behind that, so many problems are there to be faced. They are to be faced. And then the other one is ill will, right? Wanting to simply destroy the other side, the people who you don't like, right? Ill will. This is so bad, ill will. With ill will, bodhicitta is far away. The practice of bodhicitta is far away. Without the bodhicitta practice, say the infinite happiness that we are seeking is totally, you are disrupting the infinite happiness. Otherwise, we can easily, at the experience of infinite happiness, you are disrupting that. Okay. And then the wrong view, disbelieving in the law of karma. Right? Okay. As long as the policeman does not arrest me, right? I can engage in all these, say, the corruption or whatever, all these the things which can otherwise, harm other people. Who cares? So this attitude it falls under the wrong way. See how much we can get away from the 10 non-virtuous actions, right? To the best we can, and it's not that we are to expect, okay, today I learned it and tomorrow I should be perfect. No. As long as the progress is happening there, as long as first a sense of conscientiousness to refrain from these 10 non-virtuous actions, as long as this thought is coming, even that is so precious. And then be watchful of your own mind and see how you behave on a daily basis with these 10, related to these 10 non-virtuous actions. See how much we can refrain from them. Just try, right? At least attempt must be given before we really go deep into the philosophy that nothing exists like a dream, nothing exists objectively, everything is like a dream. Before we come to that kind of conclusion, right? See how much we can curb the very gross of the contaminated karmas, particularly the non-virtuous karmas. Just see how much we can practice. This is so important. And then our time, and in fact, another thing that makes me very happy is that many people who are somehow associated with the Narada Master's course and Narada Diploma course, when they become so serious, one comment that they give is that even there recently in Pune, some of them, very touching, some of them who are little in their 60s, one comment that they say is that, how come that I came in contact with this precious teaching of the Buddha very late in my life? This is incredibly great, beautiful comment, which means that the inclination towards the value of the Buddha's teachings, they're feeling it. They're feeling it. So even that thought is so precious, so precious. Okay, so the point is that eventually, with the study of the Narada Master's course, Brahma course, when you come to realize something about emptiness, that everything is like a dream, then when you see the need, now I have to go deeper into this. How to go deeper? Okay, only process is through, say, it is like, say, total black, total white color. And then you slowly, with the gradation, you see the black slowly changes to white, right? And there's no one line to say that this is the position from where the black changed to white, right? It just gradually moves to become total white color. So there, the point is that, okay, so what is this total, say, one-sided color, black color, let's say. So that is like when we have the contaminant karmas in full, negative karmas full, like the water waves, very ferocious waves. When it comes to real interaction, we come to realize that, oh, the true nature of this water, the water which creates a wave, this true nature of this water is so pure, so clean, and so the lucid and so pure. I want to experience it. What should we do? First, we have to let this ferocious wave to come down. Unless the wave comes down, you cannot possibly see the purity of this water inside. Right? With the waves, it becomes whitish. You cannot see the true nature, the true translucent, the color of the water. You cannot see that. So that wave is equivalent to the afflicted, contaminated karmas, negative karmas. First, we have to quell these negative karmas, curb the negative karmas to the best we can. This is the first step that we have to take. For that matter, we don't really need any philosophy. We can do it. We can try it from today. So let us all try this, including myself. One. Then once that is quelled a little bit, then non-vicious karmas quelled a little bit, then what we want, in order to see the perfect purity of the water, then the inside, because of this wave, there's a sediment. Although the wave is not there now, but the sediments are there with the water. They are being, with the, what is that? There's the physics, there's one, what movement? There's one scientist's name is there. Motion. No, what motion? No. There's one scientist, his name. B with the Brownian. Wow, the mother's better than the daughter. Brownian motion. Right, Brownian motion. So say, although we think that's so peaceful, placid now, it's not placid. Inside, all these particles, they are moving, sediments are moving here and there, So because of which, again, the disturbance is happening, right? Then you will start seeing these. What are these equivalent to? This is equivalent to the mental agitations, afflictions. Now the non-vicious karmas, they are starved. Physical, verbal, they are starved. Now the mental, like the Brownian motion, inside the water, right? Although the water is so placid, no wind is there, but inside there's no movement happening. Okay, so if you keep it still more, then the very subtle particles inside, the sand and so forth, they will slowly settle down. Afflictions will slowly settle down. And then maybe there could be very minute microbes, maybe there. Otherwise, the particles, the sediments all settle down. Gross afflictions are all gone. Now the subtle, minute, maybe very tiny microbes may be there. If you somehow remove them, then the purity comes out. So what is that microbe love? Self-grasping ignorance. Right? Only then we can see. As you remove the grosser ones, then you can see the subtle ones. Then you can remove the subtle ones and eventually go to the subtlest. So this is how we can possibly do that. So for that matter, we need time. So time, the good name says that in order to eradicate the gross, ferocious wave of the negative karmas, we don't really need to know the philosophy in depth. Right from now, we can practice it. We can practice this to get rid of the 10 non-virtuous karma. For that matter, we have to first of all identify what these 10 non-virtuous are. Okay, what are they? What are 10 non-virtuous actions? 3 physical, 4 verbal, 3 mental. What are the 3 physical? Stealing, killing, sexual misconduct. 3. And what are the 4 verbal? Harsh words, lying, slander, idle gossip. And then what are the 3 mental? Covetousness, ill will, and wrong view. Okay, so first we have to identify what these are. Then in your own life, just see how much you can refrain. Whether people comment on you positive or not, this is not the point. Whether people praise you or not, this is not the point. You are the judge of yourself. You know the best. You know yourself the best. Even though, say, your involvement with the 10 non-religious karma is like 80%. And because of today's class, if you're aware of this, okay, no, I must somehow reduce, I must somehow get abandoned, get it off, and mitigate. With this awareness comes to you, this is so precious. Still, the outside people will not identify that within you. Don't worry, right? As long as the transformation happening within you from 80% negativity reduced to 7% negativity, you are still way above the average. So ordinary people will still see you as a negative person. It doesn't matter. As long as there is improvement happening within you, as long as improvement happening within you, and then you are aware of that, this is more of the success. Just rejoice in what you're doing. This is so precious. Okay. So that is with the page 53 B. Then I like to quickly do the number C. C is actually a part of B, but I like to say do this. So this is from Pramanavartika by Acharya Dharmakirti. Chapter 2. Seeing the self will lead to seeing others. Bifurcating self and others leads to attachment aversion. Associated with these attachment aversion, all faults such as killing, fears, so forth ensue. Okay, this is again incredibly. So this is what we can just look at our own mind and see how the mind works and how to say get rid of all the negative thoughts and say encourage the positive thoughts. So what it says here, this is more like tackling with the subtle microbes inside the water. After the sediments already settled, then the Brownian motion, right? Brownian motion, okay, already settled, and then say the waves, very ferocious waves, they already come down. Then working on the very tiny microbes in the water. Okay, so that is dealing with that. So number C, and yet so precious, Okay, so seeing the self will lead to seeing others. In other words, seeing the self to be so objectified, so solid, will make you see others as so solidified and objectified. So the moment you see that self, me, mine, and you and yours as two groups, then the bifurcating self and others leads to attachment and aversion. Attachment to the self and aversion towards others. Okay, in Tibetan it is this is Tibetan stanza in Tibetan. Okay, bifurcating self and others leads to attachment and aversion. Then with this attachment aversion, what happens? Associated with these attachment aversion, all faults such as killing, fears, anxiety, stress, anger, all these ensue, they all arise. And with these will give rise to miseries. Okay, so finally, philosophically speaking, when you go deeper into philosophy, seeing the self as objective real, that is the cause of all the miseries, right? And then see how to see the self as empty of objective reality, and how to know this, how to get there. It is only through study, reflection, and meditation. For that matter, we have to see how much we can be exposed to this philosophy. The more we are exposed to this philosophy, the more we will have the material. The more we have the material, the more we can contemplate. The more we have materials to contemplate. The more we contemplate, the more conviction you will get. The more convinced you are, more you want to actually practice it, so that our negative emotions will be cleansed together and the peace was restored. Okay, so next we go to page 55. Okay, let's go to the point number 9. Okay, point number 9. If we like to know what kind of thought processes, say make us unhappy. What kind of thought processes make us unhappy? There's so many thought processes which can potentially make us unhappy. But we can summarize them so beautifully into 8. 8 thought processes which can make us unhappy. Okay, what are they? Just see how true that is. And if not all 8, see how true some of these are with respect to making you unhappy. See, okay, there are 8 in so 4 sets of 2. 4 sets of 2. The first one is gain and loss of material, material things. Then number 2 is the praise or defamation. Number 3 is pleasant or unpleasant words. Number 4, happiness or suffering. This is so okay. Just these sets of four, and is not what is known as the mental disturbance. But these sets of 4, when you are into these 8 situations, and then when your mind is pulled and pushed, when your mind loses stability, right? For example, say you are diabetic and there is what? Cheesecake there. Okay. Guru, do you like cheesecake? Okay, let's say you are diabetic and there's a cheesecake there, and then your mind moves, right? Your mind loses the freedom. The stability is lost. Your mind is pulled. Okay, the loss of stability indicates that you are weak. You cannot remain stable. The moment somebody who dislikes you comes in front of you, you just feel like, when will I get time to run away? Right? Just the person pushing you. So again, the stability is lost. You don't have the freedom to sit very calmly. Right? It invariably makes you to run away. Again, the loss of freedom. Loss of freedom, misery. The real misery is the loss of freedom. Right? Any misery that you have, you can label any misery. We can see that in the form of loss of freedom. Okay, can you give me some examples of misery, pain, undesirable things in your life? Anyone? Quick. Some examples. Very quick. Some examples. Raise your hands. Anyone? Rishabha? Yes, you can speak.
Bankruptcy.
Huh?
Bankruptcy.
Okay, bankruptcy. Same. Bankruptcy. The fear, because now I'm bankrupt, right? How can I survive? The fear of not being able to survive, right? The fear of, okay, what will happen to me if I become sick? The fear of, say, the fear that I'm going to get the medical attention, that I'm not going to get medical attention by becoming bankrupt, right? So again, this is a fear. Gorilla?
Krishna, traffic jam.
Or traffic jam, right? Traffic jam was the problem. Sometimes it's nice.
You feel restless, you have to get somewhere, and you're worried, the clock is ticking, and you're starting to think.
Okay, you have to, say, go to a place, right?
Frustrated.
Go to a place and you must reach by, say, let's say the 10 to 5, it's not 10 to 5, still he's going on, he's not, Okay. So with the traffic jam, the fear of not reaching there on time, the fear of not, somebody's waiting there, right? Okay, the fear of not reaching there on time, yes, and fear of all the other consequences. Somebody is waiting there, somebody who needs medical attention, a person waiting for you there. Without you, the doctor's not accepting, right? So the person must be in a very tragic situation. Okay, so Okay, the fear of not reaching there on time, the fear of the person being impatient, fear of the doctor not accepting your, so whatever, there to the hospital. Again, it's a fear. There's a lot.
Buying a new pair of dress. Buying a new pair of clothes.
Buying a,
Having like
this is your problem.
I think lasts for only a few seconds or like it for a day, and then after that then it's the same thing.
Okay, so Tenzila knowing that, okay, I like to buy, and then after buying the cloud, okay, I know that now I feel bored with it. I was bored, right? Okay, the fear of becoming bored and next moment. Yeah, that's true. That's oftentimes what happens to many people. Most cases, young people. Tenzila, it happens mostly to your age, right? Yeah. Okay, anyone else? Yes, over there.
College assignments.
Oh, college assignments. What? College assignments?
Yeah.
Then you're not able to do it, or you're able to do it.
The fear of not able to complete it on deadline.
Okay, the fear of not being able to do the college assignments on the. That's what's the problem? What's the problem if you don't finish on the deadline?
But once we get to complete it, the professor will not be happy.
Okay, the fear of the professor becoming unhappy towards you for not doing the assignment on time. Again, it's a fear, right? Very good.
Even if I complete the assignment on time, I fear of the marks that I will get.
Okay, yes. the fear of not getting good marks. Very true. Again, it's a fear. Okay. Yes, Rivugala.
Stop falling sick.
Yes, this is again. No, falling sick or the fear of falling sick.
Like have already fallen sick.
Already fallen sick, so that the fear of not being able to say all these pending works, not finishing on the deadlines coming soon, the fear of that, right?
No, it's like falling sick, like ill.
Ill, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We become ill, so there are so many works, office work pending.
And also the fear of not recovering again.
And the fear of not recovering, and then yes, and so much joy when you recovered fully.
Too much joy rather.
yeah. That's true. Yeah. So these are the real life, the experience. Very good. Okay, we see that in short, one thing that we have to learn is that all miseries are nothing but some form of fear. Right? If you say that to get rid of fear completely means to get rid of miseries altogether. Misery is nothing but one way or the other is a form of fear. Okay. So now with this, say how weak we are. How weak we are. Okay, let's say. Who's stronger? Right? Okay, somebody promised to give you, say, 5,000 rupees. And the person gives you by 500 rupees. Right? Okay, one person just took the 500 rupees and was shocked. Well, so what? Other person took it very casually, it's fine, so what? You're getting it? So who's stronger? The person who's shocked, he promised me to give me 5,000, now he gave me just 500. And the other person, who cares? This is what happens in the world. Everywhere it happens like this, right? So one person took it very lightly, and the other person was shocked, right? Could not even say with the word. Okay, so who's weaker? Huh? The first one or second one? First one is weak because first one is so badly affected. Weaker meaning, say for example, say say two people go to the same place of the hospital, and the one contracted tuberculosis very easily, and the other person did not contract the tuberculosis easily. So which of the two is stronger? Second one is stronger, right? Which means that somebody who's prone to problems, prone to miseries, that person's a sign of weakness. So under these 8 situations, if your mind is affected, you are so weak. Right? We're weak is the sign of weakness. When we are affected by these 8 situations. So what are the 8 situations which will serve as a measure? Serve as a measure to see how strong you are. What are the 8 situations? So these 8 situations, and that we're affected by these 8 situations, are known as the 8 mundane concerns. 8 mundane concerns or 8 worldly concerns. Jigden in Tibetan. Okay, what are these 8 situations? 1, gain or loss, material things. When you gain material things, you become so excited, right? When you gain material things, you become so excited. When the material loss happens, then you feel so demoralized into depression. Yeah? So that is a sign of a weakness. Material gain is there. Okay, what's wrong with that? You know, it's not wrong that you have the material gain, but why? What is there for you to be too excited, right? So maintain a strike a balance that you are not easily affected by the material gain. Material loss, okay, anybody can lose. Overnight, some people they lose $15 billion. Some people they become bankrupt. Even some millionaires they become bankrupt overnight. Right? So if that happens to them, so what's the great deal with me? Right? So therefore you can maintain the balance. If you can do that, this is a sign of your strength. If you're easily affected, we really need to first of all identify that and don't feel demoralized. Okay, I'm so weak now. Now I realize that I'm a weak person. No. Okay, I realize I'm a weak person. I have to change now. I should not remain. I'm also dependent originated. I will also change. This weakness is also because of the factors. I will remove the factors and become strong by not being affected by these 8 situations. This is amazing how the 8 situations are chosen so precisely to see how evolved you are, how spiritual you are, how spiritually elevated you are. Right? Amazing. What is the material gain and loss? Number 2 is praise or defamation. Somebody praises you, we instantly feel so inflated. Right? Okay, so there's a different. In fact, these expressions are there everywhere in the different worlds because the brilliant people everywhere, not only in Tibetan. Okay, so there's a Tibetan expression which says that somebody complimented person A, complimented person B. You look so nice. And person B said that I did not really wash my face. You understand what he's saying? Person A complimented person B, saying that you look so nice. And person B said, I'm here to wash my face. So when somebody complimented, say somebody praises you, then you're so excited you want to, you are so excited to say that I'm here to wash my face, which means that I'm nicer. Right? Okay, so the point is that we should not be too excited. Even if somebody praises you, right? The great teachers, they say that when somebody praises you, think of, okay, what is there for me to be too excited because that after all, although there are some people who praise me, but there are some people who defame me. So what is there? And somebody defames you, again, you should not be feeling so demoralized. Oh no, I'm the worst person, I'm the most hopeless person in the world. No. Again, maintain balance. Okay, although these people, they don't like me, they defame me, but there are so many people who love me. My parents, they love me. My near, real, genuine, dear friends, they love me. You think about them, and then instantly your mind will be uplifted, and again, a balance will be retained. And then, then you can use the same situation more productively. more productively. Like, say, when somebody defames you, okay, then your mind is disturbed, mind is agitated, disturbed, right? Criticism, accusation, whatever, mind is a little disturbed. Okay, the fact that the disturbance happens, don't forget it. Fact that the mental disturbance happens, the sound of a clap is already hit. Sound of a clap already arose. Sound of a clap means is because of two hands, external and the internal factors. External factors are there. There's somebody who is defaming, deprecating you, or say criticizes you, accusing you. But the internal factor, the two demons inside, self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered attitude, the two are there. So these two things, external factor, internal factor, come together, then the sound of misery immediately arises. So now the sound of the misery, the mental agitation already arose within me. So I'm so happy that I still have the two demons inside. I'm so happy that I'm able to identify the presence of two demons inside me. I'm so happy, right? So this capacity for me, so the ability for me to identify these two is because of this external person. Because of the external person, the other person, I'm able to identify these two things so well within me. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful to you. Instead of feeling angry towards the other person, the person who criticized you, accused you, you feel so grateful to the person that I'm able to identify these two things, illness, the two illnesses of the self-grasping and self-centered attitude. Only by eradicating these two illnesses, then one day I'm successful in eradicating these two illnesses altogether, then external factors there, however bad criticism coming, still my peace of mind is the restored or retained, not affected at all. That is the success. Okay, praise or defamation, pleasant or unpleasant words. For example, say you like Bollywood things, and somebody talks about Bollywood movies like you are very happy. And slowly the topic moves to emptiness, bodhicitta, alright? Alright, slowly the topic moves from there to bodhicitta, emptiness, yes. The last time I heard there's something, the Bollywood star, something is coming. I heard it from Tibet House. Somebody, and in Tibet House, when? In Tibet House, I heard from somewhere, I don't know which class, another master's course. What is Nanamar's course? About emptiness. Then the person, the eyelashes, they start to become double. Master's course, emptiness, bodhicitta, right? Bollywood, it uplifts you. Likewise, Hollywood, Bollywood, uplifts us. So, what you want to hear, there's some pleasant words. When you hear these things, you are so elated, so happy. When you say those things which make you a little down, right? You don't want to hear, when you hear them, these are unpleasant words for you, not for others. Okay, the next one is happiness or suffering. When you're a little happy, right, you're just elated, you're just when you're happy, you just feel like talking to other people, excited, and then it is like elevated to a great height. And then the moment you have a little bit of suffering, pain, unfortunate things happen, you just feel so demoralized, as though the whole world has collapsed. So this is because we fail to maintain the balance. The point is, even these 8 situations can be confronted, can be met by anybody. Anybody. So when one meets with any of these 8 situations, then see, that is a test. That's the test of how evolved you are in your spirituality, right? Your spirituality. And then if you see that I'm just 20% evolved, not 80%, 80% is still very, the mundane, weak, don't feel demoralized. Okay, I'm weak, I need to improve further. I'm to improve further. For that matter, what should I do? Then you have to seek advice, seek inspiration from other people, read books and so forth to improve it from 20% to 30% to 40, 50 like this. So this is how we should be proceeding. Very good. Okay, the next one is self-grasping mind and self-centered attitude. Okay, So these are more like, say, the very important point. Yeah, to fully understand them, we have to study them in more detail. Otherwise, even to identify this, what the self-centered attitude is, what the self-grasping ignorance is, it's not an easy task. So for the time being, it's just like a, say, what I call a synopsis of the whole the concept that you find in the treatises of the Buddhist masters. Self-grasping mind and self-centered attitude. Self-grasping is pertaining to the cognitive element of the mind, and self-centered is affective side of the mind. And both are I would say erroneous. Both are harmful to us. Both are extremely harmful, and how they act on us to create miseries is that these two individually they cannot really give rise to miseries individually, right? For example, say what for uranium, how okay, some people you must be aware of the atomic bomb. What is the mechanism? In a container, the uranium is there, and then on the other side is the neutrons, right? Free neutrons. So these two are separated by the gap, and then when you hit it there, then the barrier between these two, the barrier is removed, and the neutrons, right, from the other side, then will freely move towards the uranium, and the uranium atoms are hit and then explodes. You're getting it? Okay. So the point is that so these two things, the uranium and the neutrons, these two should move together. So the uranium per se, just keeping it like this without the neutrons from outside hitting it, it will not create any damage. And these neutrons also per se does not have any capacity to create damage. Only when these two things come together, then the damage can happen. Likewise, self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. These two in isolation, independently, they cannot really create much damage to us. They cannot really create miseries, evident pain, miseries on us. So these miseries should necessarily come into being because of these two things come together. Self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. You getting it? Okay. Okay, let's say, I'll give you one simple example. You may be wondering what is self-grasping ignorance, what is self-centered attitude. Just give you a very simple example. Let's say, in your dream, imagine that you walk into a shopping mall. Okay, how many of you really dreamt of walking in a shopping mall once in your life? Anyone? No? Or Tejal, or you have not dreamed? Okay, interesting. Okay, come in. You dreamt of walking in a shopping mall. Okay, that's a real shopping mall or dream shopping mall? Huh?
I was dreaming about the real shopping mall, but walking in it.
No, that shopping mall that you walked in, was that a dream shopping mall or a real shopping mall?
It was dream.
Dream shopping mall, right? Okay, so this shopping mall, who created this shopping mall? Maybe City Walk shopping mall? No? What shopping mall was that?
Ambience mall.
Ambience. Where was it? Where is it? Wasn't good. Ambience shopping mall, right? Okay, let's say Ambience shopping mall, you dreamt of that. That shopping mall, the dream shopping mall, who created that? The owner of the Ambience? Who created that shopping mall? Kanu, huh? Your mind created that. Who's the owner of the ambience? Maybe somebody, person A. He did not create that, right? Your mind created this. There was no shopping mall. It is simply your mind which created it. So that is known as a dream shopping mall. You're getting it? So in the shopping mall, what do you see? So many things. What did you see?
I don't remember.
Oh, no. So many things, or one or two items?
So many things.
So many things are there. Okay. Who made the display of all these varieties of items in the shopping mall in the dream? Who made that? Your mind created this. And Kanu is not so interested in shopping, right? Okay, so let's say there are two people, both dreamt of the shopping mall, and person A is like a shopaholic, right? And person B is not interested, least interested in shopping. Okay, both of them had the dream of shopping mall. You're getting it? Okay, so the display was created in both cases. Display of the shopping items were created by the mind in both cases. Person B. Why person A is excited? Why person B is not affected by the dream? Why? First we have to create the shopping mall there, right? First the shopping mall is created, then that's like the self-grasping. There is making the self as objectively real. It objectifies the self to be objectively real. That is like the creating the shopping mall. Then the self-centered attitude comes in. I want this, this looks nice, I want this, I don't want this. So this selection happens because of I want this. You're getting self-centered attitude, I want it. So self-centered attitude comes to act on this display made by the self-grasping ignorance. Self-grasping ignorance just made the display. Oh, that the self exists objectively. That is self-grasping ignorance. Then self-centered attitude is, yes, this I is so important. Then self-centered attitude comes. So self-grasping is affective, no, cognitive. Self-centered attitude is affective. What you learned earlier, affective and cognitive, you learned this distinction. Now apply this to this also. Self-grasping. So of all the distorted, the cognitive factor of the mind, the worst is the self-grasping ignorance. Cognitive element of the mind, the worst is the self-grasping ignorance. And of all the affective, the destructive, affective mental state, the worst is self-centered attitude. So when these two come together, then all the gross afflictions are given rise to attachment, anger, jealousy, craving. Everything is created out of these two. And once these erupt, then the chain reaction happens. Then the karmas are created, then the miseries ensue. Okay, that is the self-grasping mind as self-centered attitude. In other words, to make it a different angle, self-grasping mind is the one which attracts all the fears of life. Self-centered attitude is the one which forbids you from having the infinite happiness. Finally, what we want is we want fearlessness, and what we want is we want infinite happiness. Okay, tell me, how many of you, if I tell you that, what is your final goal? What is your final goal from the point of view of what you can understand? From the point of view of what you can understand, I will tell you, whether you agree with me, that your final goal is to be freed of all forms of suffering, number one, and then number two, to have infinite happiness. You agree with me? How many of you agree with me? From whatever I know thus far, if these two things happen to me, I'm happy. I'll give up everything. Will you raise your hands? Very good. So the final goal is to get into all the fears of life, right? And to have the infinite happiness. If these two things happen to you, that is the final goal of everyone. Why that is not happening? If these two are your two goals, if these two are your aspirations, Why this was not happening to you now? Why the fearlessness, total fearlessness was not happening to you? Because of the self-grasping ignorance. I have the factor inside me which attracts all the fears. What is that? Self-grasping ignorance. Self-grasping mind. You're getting it? As long as we have the self-grasping ignorance, we will never be released from the fear. We will never be released from the fears of life. You're getting it? Okay. This, don't believe in me. You have to gain conviction through rational thinking. For that you have to study, which is so important, amazing. Number one. Number two, how many you want infinite happiness, if there is a possibility? How many you want infinite happiness? Just raise hands. Infinite happiness. Okay, we all want infinite happiness. Why we want it? Why you are not having it? Because there is somebody who pushes away all the infinite happiness. What is that? Self-centered attitude. As long as we have the self-centered attitude, we'll never experience infinite happiness. If you really want infinite happiness, we have to get into the self-centered attitude. And how do we know that? Again, you don't believe in it. Just rationally learn how that is true. Right? So this is so important for us. Now, to get rid of self-grasping ignorance, how to get rid of this? By introducing counterforce. What is counterforce? The wisdom of emptiness. And to get into the self-centered attitude, what is the counterforce? Bodhicitta, unconditional love of bodhicitta. Just practice these two things, guaranteed that you will have the fearlessness, state of total fearlessness, and the state of infinite happiness. Okay, very good. Okay, now let's see. Okay, I think we'll stop here. Any questions here you might have? Any questions? Any questions? Rivigala?
Ishta, I kind of recall in the last class you had mentioned different types of mind. And I also remember you mentioned that, a type of mind where you said that everything then becomes a part of the consciousness. So I didn't understand that, or that phenomena. It sounds very phenomenal, but what is it? Can you elaborate a bit?
Okay. Different parts of minds, all are consciousness. This is what I said. You remember that?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah, but a
How?
particular set of mind, you said that once somebody achieves that, everything becomes part of the consciousness.
Okay, then?
That is what I didn't understand.
Okay, that is a different topic. That is with, let's say that so whatever we're experiencing now, external world, the flower, the house, the prayer flags, and experiences and so forth. So there, if you look at the prayer flag, so what is really this prayer flag? Right? If you explore just one item and then you extrapolate it to all other things. What is this prayer flag? It has a color and it has the shapes. Even the shape, actually I get it through the colors. The yellow, for example, is square because the yellow spreads only in one line, then they say vertically down, then the right, and then vertically up, right? And the inside is the yellow, and outside no yellow. So that is known as the shape, right? Square shape. Even the shape, somehow I get it through the color. And the color, how reliable is this? Is that really the yellow color there? Right? Is the yellow color there? If this light is not white, if this light is different, fluorescent color, then what I see is yellow now can be seen differently. So in a way, what I'm seeing is nothing but just the appearance to my mind. Depending on many other factors, then something appears to mind. What is really what appears to my mind, does it really reflect the reality? Not. The reality changes. The moment the factors change, reality changes. Reality, which I saw as reality, changes. Which means it's not the reality, it's just a mere perception taking place. Perception means your mind. So whatever I see, even the distance that I see, is also my mind. The colors, the shape, the sound, everything is just nothing but how my mind interprets, just the appearance to my mind. Right? And you just meditate on this. And this is a fact, it's not exaggeration. You just do this analysis, you see, finally you come to get a feeling that whatever I encounter with, they're nothing but the play of my mind. Just appear radiance of my own mind. Radiance of my own mind. My mind simply assumes different colors. What I see as a color, in actuality, is not the real color. Right? It's just what my mind exudes as a color, that is seen as a color from this rationality. From this, the more you meditate on this, then slowly you will, okay, whatever I see is external, they are not really external, they are simply a display of my own mind, the radiance of my own mind. Okay, so then you will get experience as though like everything is just a consciousness, your own mind, not as a cosmic consciousness, that is a different concept, as just your own mind, right? For me, whatever I'm saying is just my own mind. For you, whatever you are saying is just your own mind, not my mind, right? Okay, you'll experience that. So whatever you see is just your own consciousness. Okay, this is a very sophisticated practice, right? If you're really keen on this, then we have to design a practice. Very good question. Okay, any more questions? Gorilla?
Should I not linked to Buddhist psychology? So maybe, I don't know if you'll answer today or another time, but when we read the three principal aspects of the path, in the paragraphs 10, 11, and 12, they were just, I wasn't sure about a few of the phrasing.
A stanza, 10, 11, 12?
Yeah.
Yes.
74. One who's page 74.
Yes.
One who sees the infallible cause and effect of all phenomena and samsara and nirvana, and destroys all focuses of apprehension. These focuses of apprehension intrinsically objective.
Yes. Answer is yes.
And in the next paragraph, emptiness is the understanding that is free of assertions. What is free of assertions?
Okay. This is a very good question, and you are right. You must have already calculated, or you must predicted that Kishila will surely not give the answer today. Right. Okay, this is a very serious question, because that I'm fascinated by the forethought about what I'm going to say. I like to give it. Okay, I like to give very quickly. Okay, let's say. Okay, this is something which we have to do, which we'll do later on. So basically about emptiness, right? Emptiness. Because this is a very important curiosity coming, very important the question coming up.
Sorry,
yes.
How it links with dependent arising.
Okay. Okay.
I think these paragraphs.
Very important. Yes. So these. Then what did you say? Number 9, 10, 11, 12.
10, 11, 12, free of assertions, and then
12, and then number 3, 13. Yes, no.
In 12, also the 9 destroys all modes of grasping through definite discernment.
13. Yes, no. 13?
13, I think I understand.
Okay, so basically you the on 10, 9, 11, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, let me put it like this. There's what is known as, okay, what is this? Rose flower, right? Okay. If I ask the same question to the chemists, they will say that it's just organic substance, right? Carbon, oxygen, hydrogen mix together, then it becomes like a flower. And somebody else, if I ask the third person, they will say that it's just electrons, protons, neutrons, bunch of electrons, protons, neutrons. Who is correct? Are you sure? All are correct. Okay, all are correct. All are correct, right? Same. By the way, which of the three answers is more subtle? This is a rose, this is just organic substance, or this is electrons, protons, neutrons. Which is subtler? Electrons, protons, neutrons. Somebody who is able to see this in the light of electrons, protons, and neutrons, that is subtler. So we see that in a loose sense. In a loose sense, when we see this through a naked eyes as a flower, we call it conventional analysis. And in a loose sense, when we see this from a very subtle perception, we call it ultimate analysis. What sees? What sees the object in the light of electrons, protons, neutrons? When you go to a subtler, in a loose sense, we call it ultimate analysis. So from that point of view, if I ask, is there a flower? If you are seeing these electrons, protons, neutrons, if I ask you, are you seeing a flower? What is the answer? No, if you are seeing these electrons, protons, neutrons, you look at through electron microscope. You just see electrons, protons, neutrons. If I ask you, do you see a flower? No. Whereas if I remove the electron microscope, ask you, are you seeing a flower? Yes. Okay. So the same object, when you look at through naked eyes, you see it's a flower. When you look at through a subtler means, you will see that the flower disappears. So the naked eyes we see, which makes you to see this as a flower, is known as conventional analysis, and which makes you to see that the flower disappears is known as ultimate analysis. So all those, which says, for example, like free of assertion, meaning with the ultimate analysis, there's nothing to be asserted as a flower. The flower disappears in the face of the ultimate analysis. Right? Okay. And then what else?
Where the mere sight of infallible dependent origination concurrently destroys all modes of grasping through definite discernment.
Yes, with the ultimate analysis, what you see as a flower is destroyed. What you see as a flower is no more there now. Destroyed here means it's not really there. You getting it? Okay. Now, so this is ultimate analysis. In the eyes of ultimate analysis, the flower is not there. In the eyes of the conventional analysis, the flower is there. Right? So, emptiness and dependent origination, these are the two sides of the same coin. You look at here, you see emptiness. From the object side, objectively you see it's empty. Subjectively you see it is dependent origination. So these are the two sides of the same coin. Right? Yes, Richa?
Yeshua, my question is about impermanence. So, if you
Yes, sure.
So, in my own practice and meditations, I've felt that more I think about impermanence, especially in daily life. There is a tendency to become disheartened because ultimately, whatever, sunrise, sunset, even life, it will end. Although it is meant to jolt us so that we treat the path of dharma. So my question is how to use impermanence as a as a motivator, which
Does
doesn't lead
not.
to disheartenment, but at the same time, it helps me to make meaningful choices every day. Because although everything is impermanent, but still I understand that it is through this human life only that I can achieve the ultimate goal. Because out of the six realms,
Okay, so the
So-
impermanence.
how to find joys.
Yes, I can understand what you're saying. So we have to think in two ways. One is impermanence of the good things changing to bad things. That will make you disheartened. Impermanence, good things changing, bad things changing into good things. That will enlighten you. That will make your mind light and joyous. That, oh, I'm this richer now, right? Newcomer in Nalanda to course. If I study well for the next 5-6 years, right? Then I'll become the what is richer today. Although age-wise I'll be 5 years older, but I'll be much richer in the knowledge. By then I have a little understanding of emptiness, bodhicitta, all these things. I'll gain more confidence. So from what is very the naive richer today will become more learned. And then if I practice, I'll go from gati to next gati to the paragati, parasamgati, right? So I will not remain gati all the time. Instead of from gati, I can go to paragati. I'm so happy that this change is happening. Impermanence, right? Impermanence not always from the good to bad. There's both impermanence are there, good to bad to good, right? So when you feel disheartened, it is advised to think about the impermanence in a good way, from the bad to the good. Because of this recollection impermanence, you feel a little demoralized. Then what happens? All what attracts the people, right? This will not attract you. So you'll be left with time, right? So this time then you can use productively. Productively you use it, and then gati happens. You're getting it? So that is the good impermanence. Yeah, so we have to reflect on both. Particularly, say, when we are more into attraction to this life, then we think about the impermanence from the good things to the bad. Right? Even the sunrise will sunset. 2019, we soon will also come to an end. And the whole world will come to an end one day. And the dinosaurs once existed, they're all gone. And all these beautiful young boys and girls 200 years ago, they are no more today. Right? And all these wonderful plans, the house, for example, say in the YouTube, you see that there are many what is known as the abandoned houses. Did people deliberately make this house? No, I'm building an abandoned house today. No, they're building a house anticipating that people will use this, and people have to buy this. People have to pay to buy this, to make this. And yet, one day it becomes an abandoned house. Nobody even stays there. You're getting it? So this is all impermanent. And then with this reflection, if your mind goes too deep down, then you feel so demoralized, heavily demoralized, right? Little demoralized, and then it will drive you into doing virtues. It's fine, that is good for us. Whereas if it is heavily demoralized, it just strips you from all energy to do any virtue even. Then you have to think of the positive impermanence. Okay, with this, at least all my unnecessary entanglements stop, right? Okay, now I'm left with time. Okay, so, but although I have time, I don't have the energy. Never mind, I'll go to talk to, this person, that person who are into the spiritual, the same path. I'll go to talk to them, right? And then you'll be uplifted. Oh, now I get time to talk to, the people who are into the spiritual path. I'm getting time. Earlier, I don't get time, right? So in fact, there's a cartoon businessman a very rich businessman, flew in helicopter to go to some mountain to meet a rishi. A rishi was meditating there. The poor rishi was meditating there. You saw that, right? Then the businessman, he said that, please something to make me the happiest in my life, but I only have half an hour. I have to go back to attend my meeting. Right? He has brought his helicopter. Right? So now you are not like this. Now you have time to speak to the like-minded people. Okay, that's amazing. I'm getting time. So with this, if I go like this, then gati can happen. Gati happens, then one day I can become like His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Right? Just show his face and millions of people are so happy, they run into tears. This is what I'll become. Right? And the politicians, they want that to happen. Right? They deliberately do so many things, but it's not happening. His Holiness the Dalai Lama just go there, show his face, and millions of people are so happy. The joy that they get, they never got it before in their life. Even with the best of the birthday gift, they didn't get it. But now they're getting it just by seeing His Holiness. This is all because of the gati. Right? Now I'm getting the time for gati. So this is because of the impermanence. If the impermanence is not there, the same result will remain same, and then you will never change. Oh, I'm so happy that there's supposed to be impermanence also. Right? Okay, so these the two things reflect on the benefit of what if you become Buddha. So these are the things that I advise for people to reflect on when we feel so demoralized when thinking about impermanence, suffering, and so forth. Yeah. Any more questions? Badriji?
Actually, this is not related to Buddhist psychology, but this is something which we recite in the prayers before the classes begin. So would you be?
Yes, sure.
This is a statement by Nagarjuna which says something like, appearance negates existence and emptiness negates non-existence in the prayers. I'm extremely confused about this because from my understanding, I think appearance should negate non-existence.
Okay, so basically to be very direct, because that the audience here, I don't want to demoralize them too much. I want them to come back the next class. Right, so therefore, I'll be very brief. When one experiences emptiness, then it will avoid both extremes. Extreme of nihilism and extreme of absolutism. So therefore, just as with emptiness, you're able to get rid of the extreme of nihilism or existence, you will also get rid of the extreme of the non-existence. Likewise with the dependent origination, not only that you reject both extremes. Not only you reject the extreme of the non-existence, it also rejects the extreme of the existence. Right? Okay. So there's a separate teaching on the two truths for the non-analytic diploma course. So this will come as a part of that. Yes. Kanu?
So this is, I might be repeating the question from last session again, but in point 9 of the page number 55,
Yes.
gain or loss of material.
Page number 55 of the Buddhist psychology. Yes.
Gain or loss of material things.
Yes.
So again, I want to ask, does material things include life also? Like gain or loss of life?
Okay. This is a good point. Okay, so this is in the precisely this is material things, not the life, not all but the death. Precisely material things like money, wealth, house, car, what we call food, medicines, what we call as the material things. Conventional, what we call as material things, precisely with that. Yeah. So for the life, we can relate this to the number D, happiness and suffering. Yeah. Yes, Kanu.
I was thinking about what you said last. Then again, going back to
the 6 roots of afflictions, right?
Yes.
Page number 44. Happiness towards life, being happy to be alive. It can be either attachment or attachment. It must be attachment, right? Because there was some poison to it. Actually.
Okay, let us say, affliction. We have to distinguish these things so well. Saying the suffering of change and affliction of attachment, these two are not same. Right? Suffering of change. Say for example, saying I feel a little thirsty, I drink the water, and then I feel the pleasant feeling of being quenched. This pleasant feeling. That pleasant feeling is not attachment, but the pleasant feeling is suffering of change. Right? So this suffering of change can give rise to attachment. So these are the nuances that we have to see. The nuanced aspect of the afflictions, suffering change, and so forth. Any more questions? Okay. If not, then Tejala. Delegation.
Please turn to page 278 for the end dedication prayers. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all
Happiness and good. All powerful Charity Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends.
just as the great
Bajishri and Samadhi too realize things as they are.
Also, I dedicate all these matters in the best way, that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by the victorious ones thus born of the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble bodhisattva's deeds. May the supreme bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase forevermore.
Janjo Sanjo Rinpoche Magye Panam Ke Gyuroche Keba Nyamba Mebaya One Kondo Kebaresho.
As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain. Until then, may I too remain to dispel the mysteries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of Guru Buddha, and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 3 times, and to the holding of the Dharma of teaching and realization. May I in all lives, through the course of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect view, and the 2 stages. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. The path of the union of emptiness and compassion is lucidly explained by the protector of both the Dharma and the beings of the snowland. You are the lotus water Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans and non-humans, who harbor malice through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas, be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the 3 jewels. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and paths. May I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Manjushri, and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of dependent origination in particular, even at the cost of my life.